Okay, we're recording. Okay, so we've got a light crew today. It looks like Thursday is the more popular day for sure, but we'll deal with. Can't talk today. It's kind of storming here in Johnson City, and when it storms, my sinuses go weird, and I can't say words. It's the weirdest thing. I thought I was having a stroke until I realized, oh, it's only when it storms. So if you hear me struggling for words, that's why I'm not having a stroke. Unless I'm having a stroke at the same time there's a storm, which seems unlikely. So, okay, so what questions do we have on anything?
No, I hope no one minds if I ask something about chapter 4.
Go for it.
You and I had been talking about it earlier, Dr. Frazier, and
yep.
It was the palindrome or the cryptography, whichever one. I was asking, because I was just putting in the variables, like D1 for the numbers, D2, for
right.
like digit or whatever.
Yep.
And you told us to use mod.
Yes.
And I was wondering why you had to use that and not just put those variables in to stand for the numbers, the digits, and.
Well, and there's more than one. Another student did it a different way, and it didn't make sense to me when I first looked at it. I didn't want to look too close, or I'd forget how to do the way I did it. So there's another way to do it, but let's just go to this one first.
You could do either one of those. That would be great.
Okay, so the basic idea is you have some numbers. We have an int, n is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say. Okay. And what we want to do, we want to turn this into integers for digit 1, digit 2, digit 3, digit 4, and digit 5. So we can do something with them. Okay. So to get to digit 1, if we take our n and divide it by 10,000, okay, that should give us, in this case, 1, because it's going to give us that place. Okay, but n doesn't change. So I can go ahead and do a system.out.println right here on D1. Okay, we can see if this is working. And it is. We're good. Okay, so the next step, I've got to get D2. And if I just do this and say n divided by 1,000 to get the 1,000th spot, this is not going to be correct. Okay, it's going to be 12. Okay, because we've accounted for this one, but it's still in n. Okay, so we have to get rid of that. So the way we're going to get rid of it before we do the next step here is we're going to take n, which equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to let it be equal to n mod 10,000. And what that does is the remainder. So it's going to take n divided by 10,000. It's going to give us 1 as the main number, but the remainder is going to be 2,345. Okay. So, and we can show that by doing this. On n. Okay. So let's take a look at this. And we see that correctly. This is the first digit. And now this has correctly been moved to 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we've got the second digit. Okay, so we do the same thing again to move this down to get rid of that 2 now. Okay, and I would probably put spaces here. Okay, so now we can say that D3 is going to be equal to n divided by 100 now. We've got rid of that thousandth place. And system.out.println D3. Okay. And now again, I have to get rid of that hundredths place now. So n is going to be equal to n mod 100. Okay. Okay. So then I can say D4 is equal to n divided by 10 to get my tens place. system.out.print line D4. And my n is equal to n mod 10. Okay. And now what's left is the ones place. Okay. And that should properly give us the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5. Okay, so if that were a different number, let's make a just random number, 9, 8, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 6, 8, 2, 3, 4, apparently. We get the 6, 8, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's the integer division and the mod are working together. Okay, does that make more sense?
Well, I mean, we were just trying to read a number forwards and backwards to determine if it was the same.
Right. Well, I mean, there might be a different way. I don't know. Always multiple ways to do things. But I think what sometimes students try to do, and this is going to be, it seems to me, a bad road. Okay, so if our number is, let's start with one that is a palindrome. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I guess you could check to see if this 10,000th place is the same as that place, and then if that is the same as that. But you're still doing a lot of weirdness, it seems to me. The middle number you don't care about at all. It can't be out of place. It can't have a match. That's the pivot point. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else have a different approach to that besides breaking up the digits?
And then to determine if the numbers were going to equal, did you just put an if else statement in?
Yep. So if I've got
That was it.
this, yeah, I'm going to say if D1 is equal to D5, okay, then inside of that, there's another if D2 is equal to D4, okay, then I would do my system. I'm just going to say print because I'm going to write all that down. Print, but you can't just say print. You know the whole thing. You're going to print that it's a palindrome. Okay. I need an else here. We're going to print not. I need one more else out here where I'm also going to print not. Okay. Because, and this is where the book cautions that you have to account for all possibilities. A lot of times students will want to have this if, and this else, and that's it. Okay. But that means that if this if is true, no, if neither if is true, nothing would print. Okay. So we have two cases where it's wrong, where this one's wrong, in which case this prints, and when this one is right, but that one's wrong, then this will print. Okay. So you have to have all that code in there for that to work. Okay. Does that make sense? Not sure my writing is very clear there. So we've got our if one, our D1 is equal to D5, bracket, and then our if D2 is equal to D4. We don't care about D3, okay? Then we're going to have our system dot out dot print line palindrome. Okay, and that have an else here. We're going to do system dot out dot print line not. We want to make yours prettier. And then down here, this one's going to end this if, have another else here. And instead of this else, our system dot out dot print line not. Okay, and that's going to cover all
Okay.
our possibilities. Okay, makes sense.
So the mod was just for place value, really.
Well, yeah. So what the mod's doing again? So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by 10,000, okay, they're both integers. So it's really 1.2345, but because they're both integers, it's going to wipe all that out. Okay, so that's why we do the integer division. Okay, but if I want to get just this portion, okay, what I'm saying is if I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and divide it by 10,000, okay, I'm going to get a 1 with a remainder of 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mod 1,000 or 10,000 is the remainder. So that's remainder, which is right there. Okay, which is what I want for the next step. I want to figure out what the first digit is, then I want to get rid of that first digit, and that's what I'm doing. Okay, so that's why there's a series of integer division mod, integer division mod. Okay.
Okay.
And then again, other students did it a different way, and it worked. So I'm not going to fight it, but that's the way I've always done that. There's always a bunch of ways to do stuff right, but there's a lot more ways to do things wrong, sadly.
I have a tendency to find those, I think.
Well, they're a lot easier. That's like if you're shooting an arrow at a target, there's a whole lot more places in the world that are not the target than that are the target. So there you go.
What program is this we're looking at right now?
I think it's called, what's it called? Show Me. Down here at the bottom left. It works really well. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen it the last couple of meetings. I'm like,
Yep.
need this school.
So I've got different colors, and then to erase, I just use my finger, which is super intuitive. Just boom, and it's gone. Because if I'm using I'm a chalkboard guy. I'll erase with my hand.
Mhm.
So you can erase with your hand here. Well, actually not with your finger, but you can.
Yeah.
Real simple to do, and you've got several.
Is that Show Me compatible with different devices, or
I don't know. I
It
don't.
looks like it was running kind of probably.
as long
Yeah,
as they're
I don't-
touchscreen?
I don't know. Not sure. But I can use my Apple Pencil, which is important. My handwriting's bad enough. Trying to use a mouse, because Zoom has a built-in whiteboard, but me using a mouse, good Lord, you'll never be able to read it. It's bad enough, like I said. So, other questions about anything? So I've graded the first 2 homework. So I've graded everything that's due so far, basically. I think I gave you more time than I meant to on the 3rd homework assignment, but whatever, such is life. So I think it's still got 3 days till it's due, which probably means that chapter 6 and chapter 5 may be due at the same time. If so,
Yeah.
then you had extra time on chapter 5. Okay. Yeah, things are mostly okay. The things people lost points on, some people lost some points for not having a header. Remember that you need to have at the top of your program, you want to have, the program name and your name at a minimum. Okay. And you may want to have some explanation. A lot of times they're from the book. They're pretty straightforward, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're going to use a formula, anything like that, okay. One of the homework problems that I didn't give you was calculating the GCD, and it doesn't tell you how, but it gives you the hint to use Euclid's algorithm. If you used Euclid's algorithm, then it should be explained up here. You have to say what it is and how you're using it, okay. So that's the main thing people lost points on. And I think I said it in the video that I was put out this evening, but when I'm grading those, I'm looking at the code usually rather than running it. You should still submit a Java file and a class file, but I don't always run them. And I'll usually pick, depending on how big the assignment is, one or two before I look at anybody's that I'm going to look at more closely. So it's kind of the luck of the draw thing. There are a lot of students and they're not easy to get to sometimes. And code, if you ever taught coding, if you ever do, grading coding is a pain in the butt. It's just a weird, unnatural thing to be grading. So I spend more time looking at one program or two programs rather than looking at 4 or 5. Okay. And at this point in the first couple of chapters, people are doing okay. I mean, stuff seems to be working for the most part, except for comments.
I didn't look at your comments. I just checked the email that they were left today.
Yep.
Do I need to resubmit then? I'm wondering if I just sent you the test and not the class also.
Oh, yeah, there was somebody. That may have been you. Did you? Well, I don't want to give you a grade, but
I should go back and look at
yeah.
my comments now.
Yeah,
I may have
I forgot.
misunderstood you. I may have thought.
Yep. There on those that have the class, you needed to have both the class and the test. And you were,
Okay, so if it was me, can I resubmit them?
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So there needed to be a date, a date test, an employee and an employee test. Also a heart rate and a heart rate test.
What was that? Chapter 3?
I don't know. Let me see if I can find out.
Oh, I could just click grades because I'm sure you said where are they?
Yeah, whichever one had.
Yes, it was me. It was chapter 3. I'll do that now.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I
Okay.
assume that was an issue of just not having.
I think I
didn't
was
run right.
confused that you only wanted the test. I'm sorry.
Yep. No, I needed it all.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
And you want that for this week too, right? Class and test?
Yes.
Okay. Date, employee, and heart rate.
Make sure no one texted me about not being able to get into things or whatever. Nope, looks like it's okay.
So for this week's like the whether things are prime or not, we should have that as a separate class then. I got the impression from the chapter we were just writing them as keep wanting to use the term function because I'm more used to
I do too.
programming.
Yeah, method, but is what they call it. But yeah, whatever. Let's look. Which one was that? 6 something.
Well, like I haven't been looking at 625 right now.
Yeah.
I've got my main and I've got a method is prime this way and another method is prime this way.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they don't need to be a separate. It doesn't need to be like a separate prime class.
No. Because it will tell you if it wants you to do that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That, like I said, that was my impression from the chapter is that we're just learning about functions.
Well, and I think I said this in one of the other videos. What the book will say, if it says create an application, it doesn't want a class. Although in Java, everything's a class. So you create a class when you in Eclipse. But if you're creating an application, you're not going to have the public and the private and all the this and all that. But if it says create a class, it means create a whole new class and then a program to test it. Okay, so classes in that sense, classes more in the C++ sense, or even in the Python sense, would have to have a test program, but applications do not. And that's also why the book talks about in this chapter, I think I talked about it in the video, if you're just writing an application program, even though it's a class, when you create your methods or your functions, they're going to be static because you're not going to instantiate your is prime or your prime number program. That class is not going to be instantiated. That's just going to be ran. So you create the static functions. So you don't have to try to do crazy stuff that we don't have the ability. There's no constructor, there's no anything. It's Java wanting to make things easier by making everything a class, I think just muddles things. That it's not, that we have 2 different kinds of classes, basically. Okay. Other questions?
So for that 625,
Uh-huh.
for section C, when it says to rewrite it and then run it both ways, do you want to see it written both ways
Let's see. So
based on what Virgil just said?
um, you could, that's going to be hard to show. I'm not going to worry about that. If you're testing it for one of those, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. So don't really worry about C.
Well, I put it in my notes at the top of my program application that I actually, my very first test, I ran it just as my test divisor was less than my test integer,
Right.
which tested it all the way out to what? And integer -1.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
when I ran the second one, it added one extra, and it took me a while to realize that it was seeing 4 as a prime number, and I know that's not accurate,
Right.
but I got it fixed.
Yeah, I love when you get it in something and it's sometimes you don't know that it's prime, so you're like, oh, that must be working. You know, one that you know is prime, you're like, yeah, okay, I got a problem.
Yeah, I went and found a website that listed the primes up to 10,000 to check my results. Yeah, I was running into, depending on when, like how I set my loop up, because I was trying to kind of make it more efficient by having it skip, like just check the odd numbers, and when I did that, it stopped finding 3.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it was, well, because I was starting at 2 because I knew 1 is never a prime.
Right. Well, neither
so
is 2
then
for
when
that matter. No, 2 is a
2
prime.
is a prime.
That's right. And 3 is a prime.
Yeah, and like I said, when I was trying to have it like just test the odd numbers because I knew there was no point in dividing by 4, then like it stopped finding 3. So
Yep.
but
Programming.
then it occurred to me that it doesn't matter because it would divide by 2 first anyways and
Yep.
never go to 4. So
Yep. Yeah, prime numbers are weird. I had a student do a research project one semester on the distribution of prime numbers in different ranges of the numbers, and it's really not as consistent as you would think. So yeah, it was very interesting.
I was noticing that. Like,
and of course, prime numbers
99,
vary.
41, 49.
Yep.
Then 9967, 9973.
And prime numbers are very important in cryptography and all that stuff. So yeah, if you can find a way to find quicker big prime numbers, then you could be famous by Friday. Well, it's already Friday. Maybe next Friday you'd be famous. So what else do you want to talk about? I sent an email message. You may get that too, since not many people are here. People forgot to come on Zoom or to send me questions via text. I'll get my phone out here in case people do.
What chapters are we going to go over next week?
Definitely 7 that we missed. I'm going to try to get through 8. We may end up splitting 8 into 2 weeks to get caught back up. I was getting so many questions that I wanted to take time to make sure people were on the same page. When you're first programming in Java, you end up, when you program in anything, it's gibberish for a while, and people were having a hard time, sorting out the gibberish from the non-gibberish. So if that makes any sense, but I think everybody's starting.
I'm still running into a lot of syntax errors.
Yeah, do you program in Java much? Have you done that much before this class?
Not at all.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think I was telling Virgil before anybody else got here that I taught Java 8 years ago, probably. It's been a while. So I've seen it time and again from there, but I'm mostly a Python, C++ person as far as what I teach. So, Java's out there. It's an important language, but it seems unnecessarily wordy to me. Having to do a system.out.println every time makes me want to kill myself. When I could just do a print or just do I think I'm sure that Eclipse has a find and replace. I'm just going to start doing a cout, and then at the end, I'm just going to change all the cout to system.out.println just to save my sanity. But yeah. And then if you look at, and I'm sure we're going to get into it, that Java programmers are big about putting, you know, a function inside of a function call, inside of a function call, inside of a function call. So you got your whole program in one line, you know, and I mean, you've already seen, I don't like even little stuff, the brackets at the end of the line. I just don't like that. I don't think it's clear. I think it confuses the issue. So, and that's a Java thing that you don't see in other language. I mean, you can do it in any language you want, but that kind of came from the Java world. And I think the Java people are just weird. So it's kind of, I mean, everybody's weird. Programming languages are weird, but it seems to, it's like they're taking a stand against C++, sometimes in good ways, like the multiple inheritance they deal with, which is one of the problems of C++, like the dealing with the buffer overflows, all that's good stuff. But the little things they do just seem to be just, we're doing it different so we can be different, which I find annoying. But yeah, and the scanner's another thing. Every time I do the scanner, and you'll see if you watch the video I put out today, that I've got to go look up the syntax. I don't remember all that stuff. I mean, the scanner's dumb looking. It's a dumb looking line. But it looks like, from what I've read about it, it has a lot of functionality. It's more similar to like the streams in C++, the CNC out streams, which have a great functionality, where with the input, the raw input in Python, they're real straightforward to use, but they're limited as well. So I understand the power of it, but it's just, I don't know, it's just weird syntax. So yeah, but we'll muddle through. The basics of any programming language are more or less the same, unless you're in a functional language or something super bizarre. But for the most part, you know, we're still going to have for loops and while loops, just like we did in Python, and if statements and else ifs and all that. We're adding a switch. We don't have a switch in Python, but it's the little bits that are different. So it gets confusing. Other questions?
Dr. Fraser, I resent those classes. Should I send you an email just as a reminder?
If I don't
so
grade
go
it
back in
a bit, then yeah. I'll probably go grade it
Okay.
actually when we end tonight, with my guess, maybe tomorrow. If not, yeah, don't ever hesitate to send me a message saying, that thing I did, you didn't ever get back to it. I forget sometimes. Yeah, I'm teaching a 5-week class right now. We're halfway through on data structures. And I didn't know they were at the same time, but they're at the same time. So yeah, that's not only is confusing me that I'm teaching C++ and advanced C++ and Java at the same time, but it's also just a drain on my mental resources about what I'm thinking about. That class meets 2.5 hours every day of the week for 5 weeks. So yeah, that'll soon be over and I can just focus on this one. But, yeah. What other questions do you have about the mysteries of Java?
I thought this chapter was wordy,
Yeah.
more so than any of the others.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the Dytel and Dytel. They write a billion books on every language on demand. I've never been their biggest fans. I just don't know that they're the best out there. But they're very comprehensive and they're used a lot. And we're using it in this class because it's what they use for the regular college classes. And you know, we're trying to make this as much like the normal classes you would take as possible. So, but yeah, they get a little wordy and they have a whole lot of, you know, and maybe it helps you. It never helped me when I was a student, but all the self-assessment questions and all those like partial program questions they do, I just ignore all those. I mean, if they work for you, you know, I'll answer any question you have about them, but they just seem to belabor. I mean, the book is, I mean, the book's gigantic and it weighs a lot and it costs a lot. And I just don't know that it's the greatest that there is, but it is well known. It's used by a lot of people, and it is what they use at the college as their course. So that's why we're doing it. Other questions?
It's not specifically related about any of the assignments, but does Java have a way to pull the timestamp from the computer that it's running on?
I assume it's probably in the system utilities, would be my guess. Again, I don't program in Java enough to know. Let me see if the book mentions time anywhere.
Yeah, Actually, the page I happen to be on, 225 mentions that java.time contains classes interfaces for working with dates and times.
Yep, that would make sense.
But what I was thinking about was seeing exactly how many milliseconds or whatever it takes to find these 10,000 prime numbers using different methods.
Right.
To
Yeah, I don't
compare
think
the
the plus
efficiency.
can do that pretty easy. Yeah, I'm sure there's a way, I would imagine, but I don't know it. So
What I ended up just doing was changing them from being Boolean to changing them to be integers that basically they return the number of times it ran through the loop to find out whether the number was prime or not. So instead of a certain number of milliseconds, I'm finding out how many division operations it has to do to find the number.
there you go,
basically.
which is a different test of the efficiency, but still works. There's apparently, you can do a import java.time.local date time. And from that, you can declare a variable local date time, whatever is equal to local date time dot now. So there's a now function that returns that
Okay.
function. So let me pop up.
And
this
and that's what, an integer?
I don't know.
Like my only other experience with it might have been Pascal. There was a function that was like get timestamp that returned like a unsigned long integer. Basically, I forget what it was supposed to like the number of seconds since January 1st, 1970 or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's the old Linux systems used to do that. Okay, so what is this called?
Yeah.
Let's run this program here. Current date time example 1. I found this example. We'll pop it up here real quick. Current date time example 1.
Yeah, this primes program, like I had it done and like I was just like laying awake thinking of like, this seems like I could do something much more interesting with this than just list the numbers, because I mean the question really is about, I mean the part C really is about comparing the two, but I mean just running them both doesn't really compare them, is what I was like thinking about at 3 a.m.
Yes, I understand. So let me see if I can get what the raw, they've got to format it through this raw data looks like.
Anyways, what I ended up finding when I kept changing the maximum value is that the wider the range of primes you're looking for, the more efficient it becomes. Like if you're just looking up to 100, it's only about 50% more efficient, versus at 10,000, it's like 96% more efficient.
Well,
which
I
makes
guess
sense.
Yeah, because if you think of the sieve of whatever that guy's name is with the E, that every time you take a power, do you know that one?
Aristotle.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that, I think, but that's the guy. But yeah, that you're the idea that if you have all the numbers in your range, you start with a wheel that hits every other one for all the powers of 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run a wheel of the 3 and the 4. So yeah, you're getting rid of a bunch every time through. So it makes sense. That would make some sense. But that's not what I wanted to share. That was
yeah. Oh, awesome.
I was going to show you. I was going to actually share the code that they had. There's Eclipse. Yeah, so it's got this Java time local date, and then you declare a variable of that type with the .now, and then you get this, which is pretty ugly.
It returns a string, it looks like.
Yeah, because it's got characters. Yeah, you'd have to decode that, or I think there are some options on the formatter that you could pull stuff out of it, but it's so there's the date. So the time, I guess 1940. So that's going to be the 24-hour time.
So really, you could basically subtract the first, looks like about maybe 12 characters of the string, and just use that 0.699 part.
Yep.
Somehow.
Well, you probably want to go through. You probably want to go through and do not an iterator. What are those called? A tokenizer.
Hmm.
Tokenizer, which is pretty strong in Java, pulls these out based on the colon and
Oh.
give you, that's the first token, that's the second token, that's the third token. So you
Yeah,
could
and
you just get
the
the
seconds
third.
is all we would really care about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah,
Well,
there's certainly ways that you can do it. Of course, if you're on a
Thank you.
Linux system running the Java, you could just start the time. There's a way when you're running an application or running a command to time that application, which makes it nice. But
Mhm.
we're not on the server. I almost made everybody get on the server. Migrating would be easier, but I figured people would like the editor better than Emacs. My data structure students are complaining about Emacs, but it's good for you. Builds
I
code.
always use VI. I've never been able to figure out how to exit Emacs when I'm done writing.
That's funny because I can't exit VI. Both of those are fine editors. Don't switch or you'll just break your brain. Some people get real like, this is better, that's better. No, they both get the job done very well. Whichever one you know, don't try to switch. Yeah, I tell students that. Although I've got one student who tried Emacs, had never done either one, didn't understand Emacs at all, but VI made sense to her. I'm like, well, good, go for you. Go whatever you want. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, I've been using Emacs for about 30 years now, it seems like. So yeah, it's second nature to me. But yeah. Other questions?
Dr. Frazier,
Yep.
I saw the grades for the assignments for chapters 2, 3,
Mhm.
but no comments really outside of the one that I didn't send the classes for.
Yeah, at this point, the programs are all looking the same. I mean, they really are. And 99% of the people that turned in more or less the same code. So if it looks good, I'm not going to comment. I mean, I could put good job every time, but that would be a cut and paste, and that seems disingenuous. So yeah, I mean, if you don't get a comment, things are fine. Because when I make a comment, something's wrong.
Okay, well,
If it's super
looking
inefficient.
at the grade on it and it didn't look
Well,
fine.
yeah, but I think on that one you just didn't turn in, and what you turned in was fine.
Well, I think in chapters 2, let's see. Let me look back at the first assignment. Was it just chapter 2? Yeah, just chapter 2.
Okay,
I think there were like 6.
let me see what I did, or what you did.
And
What you did.
for hopefully it's what you did. Haha. But maybe you forgot to give me 20 points. And in chapter 3.
Okay, chapter 2, you got 100 on.
Oh, on my end, it looks like it's, oh, okay. I guess I was looking at chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
And I guess it's at 50%. I guess that must have thrown me, the calculated weight or something.
Oh yeah, that may be true, because I don't use everything's, the grades are calculated the way the syllabus says, but Moodle doesn't do that. So you got to kind of keep track of that yourself. So if that's what you're looking at, but yeah.
Okay.
I think
And you probably, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You finish.
Well, I was moving on to chapter 3.
Okay.
At first, before I watched one of your videos, I think I did do the .class instead of the .java.
Okay.
But I had sent an email, you must not have gotten it, that I re-uploaded those. But you're going to check those anyway because I only sent the test file. Like,
right.
There was 2, a class.java file and a test.java
Gotcha.
file.
Yeah, I still don't see the .class files, but I wasn't really counting off on this first time around.
I just submitted them before we got into that editing stuff that you and Virgil were talking about.
Oh, okay, weird. They're not. Why are they not showing up? That's really weird.
They're not showing up?
I mean, I see them, but I can't. When I click on them, they don't pop up. I'm not sure which is not your issue. I'll figure it out.
Should I try again? Like
No, it's fine.
edit, delete them all?
No, they're there. It's just not. They're not. Oh, I didn't download them. That's why. Before I
Oh,
download
okay.
everybody, so I'm gonna have to do it one by one. So it should be okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it a different way, but yeah, I should be able to see it.
Okay, I'm sorry again.
Yep. No, you're fine. You know, we're figuring stuff out. So it takes a while to figure stuff out. Okay. Any other questions on anything? We have a new person who I don't know who it is.
They must have gotten your message.
Did.
Didn't you say you sent
Chris
one?
may have too.
We're meeting.
Yeah, I've been here twice because I'm having an
Oh, gotcha.
issue with Eclipse,
Okay.
and I've got a laptop here that I've been working on, and my desktop here. So
Okay.
let me turn the video off on the laptop here.
You can go ahead and share the screen if you want. And I'll take a look at what's going on.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I started working on the data encryption
Okay.
4.39,
Uh-huh.
and for some reason I've created maybe it's just basically a user error. I have created the Java. Let me go back and look at the actual wording. I created a Java project, called it data encryption, and then I created the class.
Okay.
But when I have run it, it says that, well, you can see down here as I run it, of course, it's got errors in it, but it's saying there's, with the errors, that it's error main method not found in class decryption. Please define the main method as public static void,
Yeah. Which
Main.
you have.
which is right here.
So it's unhappy with something else. What error is it giving on the very first line? Curious.
Multiple markers at this line. Java language, java.lang string cannot be resolved.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I don't create a project every time. I think that may be confusing things a little bit. But
Okay.
it shouldn't make a difference. I don't know why. I mean, it doesn't like anything. It doesn't like line 9 either.
Yeah. And this was just the basic beginning of it. I was going to enter data and I was going to see if it would work and let me enter data. And then it kept giving me the errors. At first said there was no source files.
Huh.
And then it started doing this. So I
What?
tried uninstalling. Do what? I'm sorry.
Go ahead and do a file. And let's do a new class.
Okay.
See what it does for you.
All right. So
Okay.
there's my source.
Yeah. So give it a name. Just call it test if you want. Okay. And then you
Okay.
want the public static void main. So go ahead and click on that.
Yeah. That just pops that in there automatically, doesn't it?
Yep. So hit enter or finish.
Okay.
Okay. So now just go to line 6 and do like just a print line, like system.out.println.
Okay.
Hello, whatever. But see, it's already giving you errors up at the top. No, it's totally unhappy. It should be telling you
Yeah.
what to type, and it's not.
Okay.
Yeah. So go back and do it. Try a file again, and let's try a file new project.
Okay. And then I had some that just wouldn't. I would get it all typed up and then all entered, and then it would just keep running the old program that I had before.
It's not really. It looks that way. I know because I had that issue too. It's just your program, your new program's not giving any new data on the screen. Is what's happening there.
Okay, I see. Okay, so that's kind of a normal thing in a way.
Yeah, I would click create a new project name. So let's just
Okay.
go ahead and put what's the name of this class? I don't have
CS 240.
CSC 42 something, isn't it? I don't know. You guys know what class you're
I
in?
think
Come on.
402.
402. There you go. Maybe
I
that's,
think it's 402.
that's fine. Doesn't really matter. Okay. And that location's fine. Click on yeah. Are those really grayed out? That's super weird.
Yeah. And it has been.
When you downloaded Eclipse, did you download Eclipse and Java at the same time? Or
I
just,
downloaded the one that said IAD developer, and I re-downloaded it just a little while ago to see if that would help.
yeah, it looks like you don't have Java.
I hope
Okay.
he means
So-
IDE developer.
What's that?
I said I hope he means IDE developer, not
Yeah.
IE developer.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, when you go to the Eclipse, make sure there's one that has the editor, the IDE, and the Java. It looks like you don't have the Java, so it doesn't
Okay.
know what anything is, which I bet has been very frustrating.
I'm in the right place. It has. I've been working and just
Yeah, you're getting nowhere.
so that,
Everything you
that's-
type, it doesn't like. Everything you type makes it unhappy. So yeah,
Yeah.
looks like that's the issue.
No.
Let's see if I can find what that. Make sure you're on the right spot here. It's eclipse.org downloads where you want.
Yeah. All right, so there we go. I got it. So I went over here to the left. It says Get Eclipse IDE 2021-03, and then download. And then I click download again. Okay, now it's giving me the exe file to download really quick, so hopefully it won't take real long.
That's weird. I don't see where it's. This looks different than what I did. I think I put a video up on how to download. I'm not sure if you looked at that. You may want to look at that again. Because you should be able to get Eclipse and Java together. Are you on Windows 10?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry to be taking up everybody's time.
Oh, it's okay. Okay,
I'm
I'm
gonna
in
try it on.
Eclipse.org, and I'm not sure what page I'm on, but I typed in install Eclipse and Java on Windows 10, and it gets me this download that it says that it includes the JRE. So it's the Eclipse installer 2021-03R should be what you're doing. If that's what you're getting, it should be installing Java. I'm not sure why it's not,
Okay.
but that's your issue.
Okay, it's downloading Eclipse INST for install, I guess. JRE Win64 is what it's doing.
Gotcha.
Actually, I've already got that downloaded. I'm not sure why I'm not. Okay. Cancel that one.
Although look at that screen, it does have Java SE11 there, which may be okay. It's really weird.
Mhm.
But it says that you have to name your project with lowercase letters, which is weird. So I wonder if that would make a difference. I don't know why. it would do-
I get that warning about about starting with a lowercase letter every time. I ignore it without problems. It just comes up every time I've
All
done
right.
it.
Well, so when I put it in capital letters,
It grays out. of it.
and then it's
Put
Yeah,
like an
so-
X at the very end of that, just so you can get a new one going here. Okay, yeah, so click on the project layout, the use project folder as both. That may help on that second section.
okay, and then finish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now let's see if we can get this to work. Maybe it did download, but I don't know why it's acting so strange.
Says no source folder exists in the project. So,
No, something's unhappy.
so I've got the, well, the
Go
installer is.
to Okay, go to a new one again to see if it'll let you, unless it closes it down on you, which it may. Do a new class and see if you can pop up that new project. See if it made a difference at all. Change the source folder
Okay.
to the one we said, which is not there. That's super weird.
Yeah, that's the weird thing too, is that I've gone in to look for it to see.
There it is.
There it is.
All right. Is
Up
it?
one, up one, the new one we created. The CSC 402S.
Oh, okay. 402S. Okay.
Click on that one and then click OK. Okay, now go ahead and, but see, now you can't finish.
It's grayed out. Type name is not valid. The type name new is not valid.
But you're not saying
Oh, I
new.
bet that's because of the name of the class that I created.
Well, no, it's because new is a keyword.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah. So new class, and we'll do test again,
Yeah.
and then we'll.
You need to take that space out of your class name.
Okay.
It will not like
And I
that.
hadn't been doing that before. That was just reflex right there. And I'll seems to be happier when you capitalize. And all right, now let's try.
Well, no errors yet, which is good.
Well, got an error because I hit the wrong
Yeah.
thing. This is a new laptop, and the keys are a little bit off kilter.
Any new laptop, you have to learn how it works. Keyboards are all different. Yeah, put quotes around it. Double quote.
Yeah, got that too.
That's semicolon PN. Let's test it, see if it works. Looks better. Yeah,
There
so
we-
copy them over to that project. And
Okay.
that should make a difference. I don't know why it
Okay,
wasn't,
so-
but it was, that project wasn't working.
Dr. Frazier,
Uh-huh,
when I saw his console at the bottom,
uh-huh.
did you ever figure out how to put that back? Because mine's kind of, when I'm running it,
Yeah,
the test prints in the little box at the top right too. Wasn't sure how to, what toggle, if there was something that I hit.
I'm sure there is. Mine just fixed itself next time I went into it, so I'm not sure what.
Oh, okay. Mine hasn't.
All right, so let's see. Copied all that stuff, so I need to make some changes here. I need to move this up here to the top. And I need to take this public class out because it's got a different name now. The
And-
comments, and I got to move all that within the brackets. don't
4
I?
and 13, those brackets need to be deleted.
Yeah.
And see, now you're not getting all the errors that you were.
Yeah, it's just got the warnings, so we'll
So run that, see if it does anything.
aha.
Doing something.
Yeah, it's not letting me type anything, but
But you don't have a line where you're pulling it in.
Yep.
yeah, I think I got to this point and I was just trying to see if it would show up, and then I was going to
Oh,
put
yeah.
in the
If this isn't working, it's gonna make you crazy. Yeah. Yep. Yep, you should be okay. That project should work. So you should be able to get stuff working.
Well, thank you. And
Weird.
I'll
Weird
stop
errors.
sharing. Do what?
It's a weird errors, but yeah, that happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing and let someone else take the stage now.
So we're about out of time. Anybody else have any final questions they want to talk about? Okay, so Libya.
No, oh, I do have one last question.
Okay.
Did you figure out a schedule for those of us that may be having a little bit more trouble than others, that we could all be in the same Zoom and you wouldn't be having to do individual?
Yeah, we can. I'll try to do that next week.
Or does
Everybody's
it-
got such weird schedules. But yeah, there are about 4 people that tend to want to meet. So if I can get all 4 of you guys together, that would be helpful. So I'll take a look at that, try to get something next week to work on. Would be helpful. Send me an email if I forget, because I forget. I got 2 classes. It's summer. Okay.
Does Java allow you to define a function after it's called? Like right now, I've got my sub functions to check if it's prime above main. Would I be able to put it below main without problems?
Yes. Yeah, you don't. You
Like, I
don't need to
remember, I
put a
seem to
time-
remember in C++, like you could just put the title line at the top and then actually define it later.
Yeah, no, Java knows it's all there. It checks through all of them,
Awesome.
which is weird.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I will see you guys. I'll have a video out by Monday then. That I'll figure out. I'll look closer at 8 to see how far. If we can get 7 and 8 done, we'll be caught up, which would be good. But not sure we're gonna make it there. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll get together and figure it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.